All right. I have something that I want to mention to you today, that we'll be having a group called the Crossover Group. And they'll be coming with us in this coming month, September the 11th. They'll be coming to the Gospel Center to sing in the morning and then back in the afternoon. And I can almost say this with unequivocally certain that they're one of the best groups I've ever heard. And the spiritual comes out in them. You can tell by the way they're singing that it's anointed singing. And they're going to be with us. And of course, that'll give me a chance to announce it a few more times before they come. But we're hoping to have the place packed that day to hear the crossovers. All right. Now I think what I want to do is say just a word about my preaching for all these years. I want you to know that Mark is standing tall with me, and he's there when I need him, and he's there when I don't need him too. He's always there. And he preaches one Sunday out of the month, and then I get the other 3. And someone said to me one time, when are you going to retire? And I said, not for a while yet. I don't plan on it anyhow. Of course, you never know. Life is so uncertain. I guess you've probably heard by now, several people have told us that they heard that my wife had a severe heart attack this past May. And but she's doing well. They said a miracle has taken place, that part of her heart was ruined. And the back part and the back lower part of her heart was ruined, and it would never come back, and she'd never get any better. But, I'm here to tell you today that I believe that God's still working miracles today. And they said that her heart is better than it ever has been. Isn't that something? And she's still taking therapy, and she's getting sassy and letting me know that she's still around. And I thank God for her, and I thank God for the faith that she has. I do want to also say to you that once and again we're going to have Mark come in and do some of the preaching. Not that I can't, but sometimes it's just better if we'd have Mark. And he's been well received at our church. He feels he has a call of God in his life. And he spoke to me one day about the television ministry. He said, Pappy, he said, I plan on continuing on. And as far as I know, that all the children are planning on staying with us. And even whenever I'm gone, that they'll be here and singing the gospel. That's about all they know, is what the gospel really means. So every once in a while, you'll be hearing Mark coming over at this part of the program. All right. Now I want to share with you some thoughts from Genesis chapter 12. This is one of my favorite chapters in the book. And the reason why it is because of the man that it illuminates. A man called Abram. That was his birth name. But God renamed him after a time and called him Abraham. And he's been known that ever since. And when we listen to people introduce themselves, they say, well, we're kin to Father Abraham. But at any rate, today I want to share with you some things that I like about Abraham. I think of all the Old Testament saints, I believe that he's one of my favorite. I know that David is a good, strong, solid number 1, but I'll tell you what, I don't think Abram has to take a back seat from David. God was talking to somebody about him one day, and he used this phrase, "For I know him." And he was saying that he's always the same. And I know him. I know what he'll do. And when it came time, you recall that when Abram was supposed to sacrifice his son up on the mountain, that he didn't hesitate. He did what God wanted him to do. He was a man of action. And he believed that when God said something, that he meant it. And I like that. I think all preachers ought to be able to preach, "Thus saith the Lord." And so I want to read to you a little bit this morning. Now the Lord had said unto Abram, "Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thee thy name great. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse them that curse thee. And in thee shall all the families of the earth be blessed." So Abraham departed as the Lord had spoken unto him. And Lot went with him, and Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. I think I'm going to stop there and catch up with what my thoughts are about this man Abram, 75 years old. And now he's defined a whole nation, and he's known everywhere in the Middle East because of his faith. We find over in the book of Hebrews that God found time in the Word to give Abraham credit. He was among the saints that was commended for his faith. Now you notice there's several things about him that I'm going to try to talk to you about in the next few minutes. Time gets out of my head so quickly, but first of all, he was a man of action. Whenever God told himself or told Abraham to do something, he didn't question God. He did what God told him to do. And notice how quickly he did it. And God said, I want you to leave your father's house. And I want you to go into a land that you know nothing about. And he said, I will bless thee, and I will make thee a blessing. What a wonderful promise that is. That, I believe that God still does that today for his people. He blesses them and takes care of them. I know I've had in my church, I've been pastoring here for 50 years. No, pardon me, not 50, 43 years ago, this past Father's Day. And I've known all my people for a long, long time. And sometimes they even say to me, "Pastor, when are you going to retire?" And not saying that they want me to, but I don't think they do, because they tell me they don't. They said, "Well, who will we get to replace you?" I said, "Well, when that time comes," I said, "Mark will be able to step right in. He's been following my leadership all these years, and he'll be there, and he'll be able to take the job over. And I think he'll do a fine job." But we notice that Abram now he was called of God to sacrifice his son. And he didn't question about it. He took his son up the hill, and the son said something to him, it must have just broke his heart. When he said, "Dad, Where's the sacrifice we're going to use? Do you remember what Abraham said to him? The Lord will provide. The Lord will provide. And so he did. When Abraham was ready to plunge the dagger into his son's chest, the Lord says, hold it. Just wait. You're going to do just what I thought you'd do. I know I can depend on you. And so he was willing to even sacrifice his own son in order that he could please God. I really believe that was one of the number one things in Abraham's mind, is that to please God. That was his desire, to please God. And we find that God told him, now he said, Abraham, I want you to do something. You're going to have to trust me now, but I want you to go into a land that you don't know anything about. I don't want you to take anybody with you, just your own family. And I want you to see, Lot was a nephew. His father had died, and he was a nephew to Abraham. And so he went with Abraham in the land of the Canaan land. Wonderful, wonderful place. And God said, I want to tell you something. You go and you do what I tell you to do, and I'll be with you, and I'll bless you, that your seed will be innumerable. It'll be as the sands of the sea. And people will call your name great. And he said, and out of your loins will come a number of people. In fact, when we look over to Israel today,